Hello everybody, welcome to episode 27 of Shonen Shorts, where today we'll be going over the August 23rd issue of Weekly Shonen Jump. So this week, I read Under Doctor, Hall Formula, Cannon Master, and Hunter x Hunter. Also, the One Piece chapter, I've already made a video on that, so you can go watch that if you want to. But yeah, so first I'll go over Under Doctor. It's still boring. This has to be an industry plant because honestly, this series does not deserve to have lasted longer than Alien Headbutt at all. Alien Headbutt was genuinely a far better shonen series than this. We're just getting slice of life crap, really. Like, we're not even getting more information on like Haji's or like actions with Haji being like a previous assassin and all of that, and possibly having to deal with his past and crap like that. No, we're just legit. This chapter was about Shu Li studying. We legit just got straight Shu Li studying the whole time. And he was just he talked to Kasumi. He was like, Kasumi, can you help me study? And then Kasumi didn't help him. So then he went to Chikawa, and, not Chikawa, Shiwaka, not the little, like, bear-looking white thing, with the Hachiwara and Usagi. But yeah, he then goes over to, Chiwaka. Chiwa, I'm just gonna say Chiwa, because that's what they call it. Chiwa goes over to Chiwa, and he's like, yo, can you help me study? She gets a bunch of phone calls. She doesn't help him study. Then he ends up going to Haji. He's like, I don't know, Haji looks kind of busy. So he then goes, speaks with Haji, and Haji speaks about how he was bad studying and all that, gives him his backstory about how he comes from a family of assassins and all that, and he wanted to become a doctor to kind of fight that past. And then Shu Li's like, whoa, so cool. And then Haji gets him to help him clean up his library, and after this, he helps him study. And then Shu Li falls asleep after studying, and he sets himself on becoming the second best doctor so he can make everyone realize how good Haji is. And that's where the chapter ends. We are getting nothing burger after nothing burger with Under Doctor, so I see no reason why it has continued to allow this just boring existence, really. Like, it was good at first. Like, when we had Maximilian versus, like, Haji, that gave me so much hope for a good shonen series here. And now it's just nothing. And then also, like Asclepius, they didn't get elaborated on. I guess they were just a one-shot villain group, but yeah, that is what it is, I guess. So, Hall Formula. Hall Formula we see as the fight between Miharu and Hinokura continues. And we see that it's predominantly just Miharu focusing on how he can force Hinokura's nerves to get a hold of him so that he can then take advantage of this. We see as he's driving very recklessly, he gets very close to Hinokura, and he's still not completely able to surpass him. We kind of see as they're going a little bit back and forth, but Hinokura is consistently kind of maintaining a lead a bit. And Miharu's ability to pass him and his chances are slowly dwindling down. So after this, we see as what's his name? Kyogoku mentions about how there are two types of racers. There's those who are who are like known as crafters, and they like hone the vehicle a specific way, and then you have the predators who hunt down the others to attempt to scare them and then use their own psychological, nature against them. But yeah, so we kind of see as it continues until ultimately we see as Kyogoku mentions, licks his thumb to test the wind, and he sees that there's a cloud over on a hill, and Autopolis is in fact on a racetrack within the clouds because it's very high up. And he mentions about how once this cloud comes down in 7 minutes, whoever has that cloud to back them will end up winning the Autopolis race, either Hinokura or Miharu. And hopefully it's Miharu. I bet it'll be Miharu, but we will have to see. So then Cannon Master. Cannon Master was great this week. So we got introduced to a new species. But first, what we see is Ur and Baharat are still going up against the demon and the other one that showed up now, the smaller one. They're like, is this a child? And it ends up launching a cannon blast at them. So we know that this is apparently a human with similar abilities to Ur. So we kind of see this happens. And then after they get down, we see, as the other two demons end up fleeing, and they get down, they speak with the minister, and the minister reveals that that individual that shot at them was a Regioid, or a Regioid. And this is a humanoid regolith that can launch cannon shots and is far smaller than an average size regolith, far less cumbersome. And so we then see as he kind of explains this, and he asks, aren't you a Regioid, and Ur apparently either did not know this, because he seemed kind of disappointed about this, to be a regolith. And then we end up going over to the demons once more, and we see that Zekaf, I think it was Zekaf, Zekaf, who is the actual demon that they fought, he is injured, so his Regioid little assistant, Sado, tells them to get healed up and all that. They kind of speak about everything, explaining a little bit more on what the Regioids are, but I mean, there's nothing too complex to them really. There's a combination of Regolith and a humanoid-like creature. But yeah, so we kind of get this laid out, but then we see as Sado mentions about how he planted demons within the crowd of the non-combatants. So what they're going to plan to do is, while Zekath ends up getting healed up, he will plot, and ultimately, once they are done, they'll head back and have the demons kind of go rampaging in the area, whilst they end up taking the minister back. So we then see as there's the others dealing with the Regoliths that were before, like, the area, and then Ur and Bahrat end up pulling back up, and all three of them mention, I can't remember what the other guy's name is, he's like the dude with the top knot, and they speak about how they sense bloodlust from the crowd, so they know that there are enemies among them. So then, after this, we have Hunter x Hunter chapter 418. Now, this chapter was a beefy one. It had a lot of like dialogue in it, so you would need to read it yourself to get the full complex ideation. And honestly, I don't really know if I understand Tserriednich's ability completely. So yeah, go read it for yourself, see if you get it, can figure it out. But it is explained, but just how Togashi explains stuff sometimes, it's just like, whoa, it's so right over my head. But I kind of got a good understanding of it. So we see as Tserriednich's ability is explained quite in depth here. We learn that whilst he is in Zetsu, so he has the 10 seconds of prescience, essentially. He can see the future for 10 seconds, and whilst he is in Zetsu, then if he is within it has a specific radius, while he is in Zetsu, then the effects of that future will appear to have happened to everyone around him. However, if he comes out of Zetsu, then he will appear as he was like normally, as compared to what happened in that future. And we kind of see this play out with a like water bottle explanation with Salkov. And yeah, so we see that, and we then see the events that play around with Benjamin coming in and killing him, and we also see as Tserriednich has to lay out a will and all of that, but we see how he actually survived this. So what he did was he had the 10-second thing set up. It's a radius boundary used with his Nen Beast, and then went into Zetsu so everyone would see that he was shot, not that he is now hiding, because he cannot be seen while he's in Zetsu in this essentially circle of alternate reality almost. And with this, we see as everyone presumes he's dead, they put him in a casket and all that. They have his funeral. It's made to not be open casket, because if Tserriednich is not in Zetsu around that area, then it will appear that there's nothing in there. So if they open the casket, they wouldn't find anything. But when Tserriednich is in that area, then whilst in Zetsu, then it will appear as if there's a corpse in there. That's what I kind of got. Like, it's odd. But yeah, so I guess when you're in the area of effect, then in Zetsu it appears, but if you're not in Zetsu, then they'll see you, check the thing, and there won't be a dead you in the coffin. But yeah, so we see this, as he kind of goes about. We also see as Theta, like after the funeral, is hoping to like open up the coffin, and since Tserriednich is going around and kind of sneaking, and he was in Zetsu in the area, so no one could see him since he was in the radius once more. I guess the radius of effect. Then, if Theta would have opened the coffin, there would have just been a bloodied Tserriednich corpse in there. However, Tserriednich is actually fine. He's just in Zetsu and essentially projecting an illusion. Like this is some like Sosuke Aizen level like manipulation here. Well, yeah. So trying to see as that plays out, and then we see as he focuses on what to do next, his next moves and everything, and that is where the chapter ends. So that was a really good chapter. I mean, it wasn't anything like chapter 417, however, it was still really cool. Just kind of learn how Tserriednich's ability works, and it's far more complex than I thought it would be. But yeah, because I mean, like, we've seen the other like Prince's abilities, and like none of them are like super crazy complex. This is probably the most complex one that there is, because it has so many like different contingencies and stuff like that. But yeah. So, that's all it really was for the August 23rd issue of Weekly Shonen Jump, and that's all I really have for episode 27 of Shonen Shorts. So, thank you very much for watching.